20 years ago in Montana, meth was homemade.
On Friday, 18 Republican senators went to the U.S.-Mexican border to fearmonger Mexicans. Now, most of them did their usual shtick. They go up there, discuss how, immigration has ruined the country, blah, blah, blah. And then you had Senator Steve Daines. So Senator Steve Daines of Montana goes up there and then begins to reminisce about homegrown meth. Check this out.
The flood of Mexican meth, Mexican heroin, Mexican fentanyl. 20 years ago in Montana, meth was homemade. It was homegrown. And it had purity levels less than 30%. Today, the meth that is getting into Montana is Mexican cartel.
Back in my day, our meth was homegrown. We made it ourselves. We put our kids through college on that. And now the Mexicans have taken over and we're losing our jobs. We can't make meth anymore. They make much better meth than we do. This whole thing, so absurd. Obviously, as crazy as this man is and this whole party is, he obviously did not mean to make it sound the way it sounded. He did go on to say that today the meth getting in is a Mexican cartel. It has purities north of 95%, far more dangerous, far more addictive, and it's less expensive. So that ultimately was the point he was trying to make, but it's really weird to shoehorn in Mexican cartels in a discussion over immigration, over people leaving their countries because their families are being targeted. So Mexican drugs are going to get across the border regardless. As long as it remains illegal and there's a black market for it, it's going to get across. This is why you have to decriminalize and regulate these drugs. This is a way to actually deal with this problem that does not empower these cartels. You take the power away from the cartels when you decriminalize the drug. But the way it is right now, you give them all this power by making it illegal. Now, ultimately here, what he's doing is he's used meth to justify xenophobia. This has nothing to do with the actual issues at the border, what is going on in these camps, the very similar policies that Biden has right now compared to Donald Trump. Yes, Trump took it a little further with family separation at the border, but the conditions that are that these private facilities have for these kids at the border is just, if you've seen the images, clearly not up to par. And there should be a lot more done there. The facilities should be under the control of the U.S. government, should not be under control of private corporations who are making money off of this process. That is the actual issue, the lack of humanity at the border from the administration, not purity levels of meth. Like, I don't know how he took the discussion from what it should be about, human lives, to a discussion about meth purity. But he did. And let's just zoom in here behind him, because you have Senator Mike Lee in the back, who appears to recognize how ridiculous Steve Daines sounds. So let me just play this again, zoomed in on Mike Lee's face.
20 years ago in Montana, meth was homemade. It was homegrown. And it had purity levels less than 30%. Today, the meth that is getting into Montana is Mexican cartel.
So watching this again, it really looks like Mike Lee. I mean, sometimes we overanalyze and maybe he's not even listening, but it appears that Mike Lee is, especially that one part where he looks away with a big smile on his face. He knows exactly how ridiculous this sounds. And this really is the case with most of what comes out of these guys' mouths. They are fully aware of how full of shit they are 95% of the time. But they are comfy in their positions. They have a cushy job waiting for them once they're gone because of their attachment to big donors and large corporations. They know that they're going to be fine for the rest of their lives. So they play this part for however long they are in government for, and then they turn around and make a ton of money. And by the way, it's not just Republicans. Most Democrats also fall into that category, just to a different degree, but they do exactly the same thing. This is why when there are, the rare politicians that actually run with no corporate money, no big donor money, people like Bernie Sanders, people like AOC, like Rashida Tlaib, like Cori Bush, like Jamal Bowman. These are politicians that you can actually trust based on the fact that they do not run attached to any specific big donors. But then, of course, yes, criticize them, analyze their votes, be critical of what they are or not fighting for. That, of course, also goes with the territory. But there is just it's a different situation when you have people like this that are that corrupt and go out there saying shit this dumb that really never ever appears to actually impact them.